In this video, I'm going to show you all the new gadgets, balance changes, as well as info on how you can win a totally free Dr. Edgar skin from this channel before anybody else can even buy it. Keep watching for those details. But first, let's start off with the gadgets because some of them are absolutely bonkers. Now, all of these gadgets will be available the day the update goes live. You'll be able to find them either in the shop, in offers, or in boxes. So if you want to get them quickly, you can open up some boxes and maybe you'll be able to find them. And if you do, I'd appreciate you using code LEX. First off, let's check out this sweet new lobby screen. Oh, Brawl Stars knows that I love purple, and this is the best lobby screen I have ever seen. Also, the loading screen, it looks pretty dope too. Now, the first of the 10 new gadgets is for Lola, and it is called Stunt Double. With this gadget, you can swap places with your ego, and in the process, gain 350 hit points. This gadget is cool, and I think that you're going to be able to make some really cool plays, like passing yourself for some trick shots or putting yourself behind the other team to really surprise them, but I think her other gadget is also great. I don't feel like one is better than the other. They're just completely different, and I'm excited for that. Next up is Belle and her reverse polarity gadget. When activated, this will allow your next shot to bounce off of a wall, just like Rico. You're going to be able to use this gadget to either get some creative kills or even some damage from far away, like on a high safe, but since it is only a single shot, I feel like the use case is going to be limited and probably hard to really land that shot sometimes, and I think that her other gadget still offers more value. And speaking of more value, one gadget that you absolutely have to get is Colette's new gadget, Gotcha. When activated, Colette's shots for the next 5 seconds will give her 80% of the damage she deals back to her in health. Yeah, you heard that right. Every shot for 5 seconds. Now, it doesn't work like on a high safe, but this is absolutely going to decimate tanks. I mean, she was already really great against them, and I feel like this gadget is, well, insanely overpowered, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed, so enjoy it while you can. Continuing on with some really strong gadgets is Fang and his new one called Roundhouse Kick. When he uses this gadget, he will unleash a kick that will stun everybody nearby for 1 second. I see this gadget being exceedingly good in Brawl Ball, where you're going to be able to make plays where you use your gadget, knock the ball out of someone's hand and steal it, even going for a score, or you could super up to somebody, stun them, and take the ball as well. Even in other game modes, supering into a group of people, using your gadget to stun them all and continuing to deal damage is going to be really crazy. That being said, his Corn Fu gadget is also really good, and I feel like both of them are going to get plenty of use, but I really do love this one. But not all of the new gadgets are super strong. For instance, both Byron and Squeak have both kind of mediocre gadgets. With Byron's new gadget called Full Treatment, after you activate this gadget, his next shot will shoot 3 darts in a cone. While this sounds great, the problem is it does not work with Injection, his star power, so it will not pass through targets and do both damage and healing to everybody in that area. In addition to that, it deals 20% less damage and 40% less healing. I feel like this gadget is not as useful as his first gadget unless there's like enemies grouped up and of course not behind one another, or if you just can't aim. So that means it's probably going to be better for me. Anyways, Squeak's gadget is called Residue, and it's pretty cool, but again, I feel like its use case is going to be very limited. What it does is, after a gadgeted shot explodes, it stays on the ground, and you can see in the bushes where it blew up. It'll stay on the ground for 15 seconds, allowing you and your team to see in that area, and while this isn't horrible, it's extremely map dependent, and I think it would be better if it like permanently destroyed the bushes or was a bigger radius or maybe even lasted a little bit longer to give it some more value, because I just feel like it's a very situational and mediocre gadget. Now, ones that are a little bit better than those are the ones for Ash, Grom, and Ems. Ems' new gadget called Acid Spray will let her next shot pass through walls. This does, however, come with a 20% reduction in damage, and I really like that both of her gadgets fill a need. Her original gadget is more defensive, while this one is more offensive. I still feel like her other gadget will get more play, but in some scenarios, like a Power League match where there's no assassins, you can choose this and it will be the preferred option. Ash's new gadget is called Rotten Banana, and what it does is sacrifice 20% of your health, and in return it gives you 50% rage, and I find this to be extremely good. This will make Ash even more deadly with the healer, as you can ramp up your damage really fast and get down to the dirty business of taking out the trash. It's an Ash trash. You probably got it. I think that this gadget is better than his first gadget in most scenarios. Next up, we have Grom and his radio check gadget. After activation, Grom will toss out 3 shots instead of 1. Now, all 3 of the shots will go to the same exact spot, so if the enemy is moving or dodging, you may not get a ton of value, but if they're kind enough to group up for you, then yeah, watch out. This also will do a great job at dealing extra damage to a heist safe. I think that this gadget and his first one are both good. Your choice is likely going to depend on if the map you're playing has a lot of bushes to give value to his original gadget or not. And the last new gadget is going to be for BB, and it is called Extra Sticky. It's pretty simple. You activate the gadget, you throw your super, and if your bubble hits somebody, it will slow them down. Now, the slow doesn't last an incredibly long amount of time, but it does slow them down quite a bit. Kind of like Crow's gadget, except it doesn't last as long. I can see this would be very useful, like if you're chasing somebody down as BB, you can hit them with your bubble and, well, you're going to get them because they're not going to be able to get away, as well as it would have a good chance of bouncing off walls and coming back for a second shot to hit them because they can't move away quick enough. Yeah, that's some cool gadgets and all, Lex, but what about the free skin, yo? Fine, okay. So in the next sneak peek video, I'm going to be giving away 6 Dr. Edgar skins for free. So be sure to subscribe and come back to that video, because if you win, the skin will be given directly to you in your inbox in-game 2 days before it's available to the public. And in my next video, I'll tell you exactly how you can enter. So be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications so that you don't miss the opportunity to flex on all your friends that you got the skin before anybody else could even buy it. Next up are the balance changes, and we got a long list of buffs and nerfs as well as just some changes, so let's hop into that. First, let's start with the buffs. First on this list is Mr. P, and he is getting both of his star powers obliterated and reworked. First off, Handle with Care is now baseline, and the new Handle with Care, every 4 seconds the next briefcase will deal 40% more damage after bouncing. His other star power, Revolving Door, is also gone, just like my dad when he went to the convenience store for milk. The new Revolving Door, spawners will have 20% more hit points, and they will deal 30% more damage. I like these changes, and I can't wait to play him with these new balances in effect. Speaking of star powers getting removed, Brock is also having his Incendiary star power removed. It is now going to be baseline to always have that incendiary effect. The star power replacing that will allow his super to fire 44% more rockets than before. That's a lot of rockets. Like, well, it's 44% more rockets. The next buff is going to be for Jackie and her Hardy Hard Hat star power. It is getting its damage reduction increased from 15 up to 20% damage reduction. But Jackie isn't the only one who's getting a shield that's going to be stronger, because B is getting her Honeycomb star power, shield increased from 20 to 30% damage reduction. And while Brawl Stars was buffing all these star powers, they thought, yo, Gil, we're going to buff your star power as well. And his Blustery Blow star power will have this stun increase from 1 second up to 1.5 seconds. But there's some other brawlers who are actually getting their base stats buffed. First up is Griff. He is getting his base damage increased from 220 to 260 damage per shot. And as I noticed in the Brawl Talk, Colonel Ruffs is also getting his base damage increased from 500 up to 560 damage per shot. And the last of the brawlers getting their damage burfed. Everything's getting burfed. And the last of the brawlers getting their base damage buffed is going to be Max. She's getting her base damage increased from 300 up to 340 damage per shot. While not a brawler, the health gear is also getting a buff. Actually, more like a rework. Regenerating health passively heals for an additional 30, 40, or 50% depending on what level of the gear you have installed. So it actually makes this gear, I think, a little too strong. I think it's going to be really good. We're going to have to wait and see against real players, but 50% extra regenerative healing sounds, you dodge one shot and just wait for a second and you're getting a lot of healing back up really quick. It'll keep you in the action way more than the previous healing gear did. Now, that was a lot of buffs, but some brawlers, yeah, not so lucky. So let's take a look at the nerfs. And the first up is, well, a brawler that really kind of deserved it, and that is Grom. The first change isn't actually a nerf. Well, it sort of is, but sort of not, because what happens is his projectile speed is now constant. That means however long it takes the shot to land at max distance is the same time it takes it to land really close up. So up close, it's going to be definitely a nerf, because your shots aren't just going to instantly hit them, but far away, they actually move a little bit quicker. So It's just a little bit different for Grom. But one change that is a nerf for Grom is that his super projectile range has been decreased. And the last change is actually a buff because his supercharge rate is now 6 hits down from 7. The next brawler getting nerfed is going to be Terra. They are moving her base damage from 460 down to 440 per shot. And the last nerf is coming to one of the strongest brawlers in the game right now, and that is Daryl. His rolling shield whenever he activates his super is being nerfed from 90% down to 50% damage reduction. So that is a massive nerf to his shield while he is rolling. This makes it a little bit more risky to roll in and try to get them kills. Now you might have noticed in some of that gameplay there, we've got some new maps as well as we've got a brand new environment. So let's check out the brand new environment called the Biodome. This is a great looking environment in my opinion. Not only are all the tiles really great, but the color of the water and the plants surrounding everything looks really awesome, and I think that whoever did the Biodome environment, I see you at Supercell. Good job on that because this is a great looking environment. There's also been quite a big change in the game modes and the rotations of these different game modes, so let's cover that real quick as well. When looking at the screen that shows you your mode selections, you'll notice that Showdown has one big huge banner, as well as Gym Grab and Brawl Ball are there. However, they have a bunch of new maps, 14 of them with a 24-hour map timer. The other buttons will belong to Bounty and Knockout, as well as Heist and Hot Zone, which each had 7 maps, and they are also on a 24-hour rotation. Siege, of course, is gone. It is no longer in rotation, but it will still be in friendly rooms and in Map Maker. And speaking of the Map Maker, Knockout is now in the Map Maker, so if you want to make a Knockout map, play with your friends, you can do that, just like the map that you saw I just created and played. Very cool. And of course, we got the 2 new game modes, Wipeout and Payload. I can't show them to you yet, but be sure to stay tuned for a sneak peek on those, and I'll be able to show you all the gameplay on those. Also, added to seasonals are Basket Brawl and Duels. They are both seasonal game modes as well. The weekend events have been moved to the very far right, and in those, one game mode that you will no longer see is Super City Rampage, as it has been completely removed. And lastly, let's talk about Club League, because there are some changes to that as well. Club League tickets have gotten buffed on the 3rd day by 50% because you're going to get 6 tickets instead of 4. Also, PowerPoints are now purchasable from the club shop unlimited. So if you want to spend all of your club coins on PowerPoints in a single setting, well then you can now do that. The next note I have here is that presidency over a club is now automatically rotated after the club president is inactive for at least 14 days. So if you're the president of a club and you haven't logged in for 14 days, then it will... Crap, I better go log in. Whew. Okay, I'm still the president. Crisis averted. Club members who left or kicked from a club during their running season will now be eligible for rewards based on their contribution. So if you played 2 of the 3, weeks or seasons worth of Club League, and then you got kicked because you were calling everybody noobs, they were losing all their games. I mean, come on. You'll still get rewarded for what you contributed to it during that time. And the very last thing in my notes, it says, be sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It doesn't say that, but you should. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next sneak peek. Peace.